In this first exercise, we're going to practice using the single line text tool, and we're going to use several different types of justification. For the first part of the text at the very top, we're going to use the justify center, and we're going to choose the center location as 5.5, comma 7.75. The height of the text is 0.5, and then we can start typing in the words text exercise. The next piece of text that we're going to use is over on the left-hand side, and we are going to make this text justified left. So clicking on the single line text tool and then type in J for justify and L for left. The start point is 0.75, comma 7, and the height of the text is 0.13. There's no rotation, so then you can start typing the words from the exercise 8A. Next line of text is going to be aligned left, so we're going to click on the single line text tool again, J for justify, A for align, and then we can make the first endpoint 0.75, comma 5.5, and the second endpoint 9.7, comma 0. When you start typing the text, it's going to look really big because the align justify makes it aligned within the box that you give it. And so just keep typing, and as you type the rest of the sentence, it will get smaller and smaller and fit that box that we have made. And once again, this is the align justification. Next, we're going to use the single line text tool again to justify this text to fit. So J for justify, F for fit, and the endpoint, the first endpoint is going to be 1, comma 4, and the second endpoint is 4, comma 0. The height of this text is 0.13. If you are typing it and you just press enter after each sentence, then it will beautifully fit inside of the box and justify correctly. We're going to use justify fit again for the text at the bottom. So click on the single line text tool, J for justify, F for fit. The first endpoint is 1, comma 0.5, and the second endpoint is 4, comma 0. The height of the text is 1 inch, and you can start typing the words and they will fit to the box. For this next part, you have to draw a circle first so that we can put our text exactly in the circle. Using the circle tool, we're going to make the center location 6.75, comma 3.75, and the radius of the circle 0.75. Then we can get our single line text tool and select the center of the circle as where we want the text to be. But before we do that, we have to justify, so press J for justify and M for middle so that it will center right in the middle of the circle. Then you can select the center of the circle, and the height of the text is 0.75, and then you can type your numbers inside the circle. Finally, the last text box, we're going to use justify left, so clicking on the single line text tool again, J for justify, L for left, and start the text at the point 6.7, comma 1.2. The height of this text is 0.2 and the rotation is 45-degree angle, and then you can start typing your text. That was exercise 8A in inches. You also have to do it in metric, so you're going to open up the metric helper and do the exact same exercise using the metric points instead of the inch helper points. So making sure that you're following along with the PDF, it tells you exactly what numbers to use for all the endpoints and making sure that you're in the metric helper instead of the inch helper for this one. So that is 8A metric. Now moving on to 8B. Alright, first thing, I want to make sure that I'm in the text layer. Then I'm going to choose the multi-line text, draw a box inside my document. It's going to open up this editor. I'm going to change the height of the text to 0.25 up at the top in the ribbon. I'm going to change the font to sans serif. And I'm going to click inside my box that I drew, and I can start typing the text from exercise 8B. When you're typing this text, please do not type in the 1 period and the A period, because when we go back to do our tabs, we're going to have to change that a little bit. So just type it the way that I'm typing right now. Once I'm done typing, I'm going to right click on that text editor and change my tabs. Now, you have to make sure that you select all your text first before you start changing your tabs, because this first time that I try it, it's not going to work the way that I want it to. When I go down to the sentence and tab over, I cannot see the right tab. So I'm highlighting everything, then right click paragraph, and now I can add my tabs in. I want a tab at 1 inch and 1.5 inches. Now, when I go to the sentence that should be indented at 1 inch, it's exactly at 1 inch, and the sentence that should be indented at 1.5 inches is at 1.5 inches. You can add your 1 period and your A period, but you're going to have to now stop AutoCAD from auto-bulleting these two sentences. So after you do the 1 period, you're going to have to click on this little lightning bolt icon and stop it from bulleting these two sentences. So remove, instead of stop, click on remove bullet. And do that for the second one as well. Now we're going to stretch out the side here to make it the right, so that it wraps the text correctly. And ignore that part, that was a mistake. Click outside. I'm just going to move it over a little bit so that it is inside of my bounding box. And then I'm going to get the multi-line text tool again and draw another box underneath. This time I'm going to type all the words, and then I'll do my formatting. So this is the student name. I'm going to press tab and then student ID, press tab again, and then grade. On the next line, I'm going to type the names, the student IDs, and the grades, and putting a tab in between each one of them. Now I'm going to highlight all the text and right-click on the box and go to paragraph so that I can edit my tabs. I want a tab at 4.5 inches and 8 inches. Finally, I'm going to highlight the top line and make it underlined. And I'm done with this exercise. In exercise C, the first thing we're going to do is to draw a box that is 6 inches across and 3 inches down. So 6 inches wide, 3 inches high. You guys know how to use the rectangle tool, so go ahead and do that. Then we're going to click on our single line text tool and justify it to the middle. So J for justify, M for middle. And then we're going to use the M2P command to locate the middle of the rectangle. So M2P, and then click on the bottom left-hand corner of the rectangle on the top right-hand corner. Make sure you have the correct object snaps on to get those. And so now it's going to type exactly in the middle. We have to set the text height to 1 inch and rotation to 0, and then you can type the word middle, and you are all done with this exercise. Exercise 8D is very similar. We're going to draw a rectangle that is 6 inches wide by 3 inches high. Then we're going to use the multi-line text tool instead of the single line text tool. Multi-line to select the top left-hand corner of the box that we just created and the bottom right-hand corner. Then we're going to type the word middle in and change it to 1 inch high up at the top. So the 1 inch text height. Change the font to sans serif and make sure it's standard. Our font should be sans serif. And then on this justification drop-down menu, we're going to click on that and go to middle center. Now we can type the word middle And you are done with exercise 8D. For exercise 8E, we're going to use the line tool to draw two 6-inch long lines that are horizontal. Make sure you use that ortho option to make sure that they are actually horizontal, and they are 6 inches long. Then we're going to use the single line text tool, and for the top text we're going to use justify center, and for the bottom text we're going to use justify BC, and we're going to show you the difference between center and bottom center. So we're grabbing the single line text tool, and then you're going to type J for justify, C for center. We're going to use the midpoint snap to place the justification point at the midpoint of the line, so make sure that you have the midpoint object snap on. Click on that midpoint, and we're going to change the text height to 1 inch, the rotation angle to 0, and then we can type the word happy. Make sure you're using a capital H and lowercase letters for everything else. Alright, grabbing the single line text tool one more time, we're going to justify this, so J for justify, and we're going to justify it for bottom center, so BC. We're going to use the midpoint snap again to place the justification point at the midpoint of the second line. Our text height is going to be 1 inch. Type in 1, press enter, and no rotation, so now we can type the word happy again. You'll notice that this time, because it is bottom center, that bottom part of happy touches the line as opposed to center on the top one. Our last exercise is 8F. So open up a new inch helper, and we're going to type the words mirror text setting 1 and mirror text setting 0 using the single line text. Go ahead and do that now before we go on to mirroring them. Here I'm going to just move my text, so I click on each one and I just move it so that there's a little bit more space. You don't have to do that, I'm just doing it for spacing reasons on my document. Now we're going to use the command mirrtext, so you're going to actually type that in, mirrtext, and we're going to change that setting to 1 instead of 0. And what that's going to do is it's going to change this mirror text setting. And so now when I click the mirror tool in this first line of text and draw my line to mirror it, you can see that it actually flips the text like a mirror would. So you can see the text has reversed itself. If I change that mirror text setting again, so typing in mirrtext and change it to 0, and try the mirror command again on the second set of text, you'll notice that it mirrors it, but it keeps the formatting of the text in the way that we actually read it. So it's not like a mirror anymore. So two different types of mirroring text, setting 1 and setting 0. You are now completed with all of exercise 8. Congratulations.